Hello, Sproutah here. In this video, that is a little bit longer than usual, we will be covering all updates by detail and ranking them based on how good the content was. Thanks to Rando/PebblesFan again for the video idea, and all the channel members. Without anything else to say, let's not waste any time and start the video. So, in order to make this video as fair as possible, I made a rating system for all the updates, so I'm going to share you all the criteria and what do they have to follow. So, it would divide into 4 categories, 2 of them being more important than the other 2. The first one is the tunes. It rates 10 points. This subdivides into quantity and quality, 5 points each. I think there's not much else to say about the tunes, it's really straightforward. Then we have the other new stuff ranking. It also counts 10 points. It subdivides into 4 categories that, in order to make it easier to rate, they count 10 points each. But then we divide them by 4. In this category enters the floors, the trinkets and items, the overall changes and the improvements, quality of life and bug fixes. Also, if the update has new skins, they have an extra skin bonus category that adds some points. And then we have the originality that counts 5 points. Not much to say about it. And also we rate if the update felt disappointing or not. If we add all of this and then divide it by 3, we should have the rating. Also, for all the US subs, I also added the grade the updates would get if it was an exam or something. Why not? So, now that we know this, let's start by order of release, okay? We are counting for every update except for Yatta's and Christmas, the final version of the updates, since for improvements we need to check the patch notes. So, there we go. So this is the Alpha 0.1, or also called Alpha Release, the one that started it all. There's nothing to compare it with, so it will be based on the average quality of the game on release, okay? So let's start with the tunes. For the quantity of tunes, I gotta give it a 5 out of 5. There are 12 brand new tunes, the most of any update, for obvious reasons. But for the first update, I would have expected some more. But 5 out of 5 is fine. And for the quality, I'll give them a 4 out of 5, since even if they weren't the most original tunes and twisteds, they get the job done as the base kit of the game. So if we add it all up, the first update gets a 9 out of 10 on the tunes. Really respectable score, if you ask me. Now it's turn of the other new stuff. We'll start with the floors, and if I had to describe them, I would just say one word. Iconic. These are the best and most recognizable floors on the entire game. Easy 10 out of 10. Then we have the trinkets and items, and it would be an 8 out of 10. 75% of the best items are on here, and there's not many that we could call bad or useless. But there are some exceptions like speedometer, brick, or the spooky coin purse. In fact, it would be a 9 out of 10, but coin purse is here, and as the biggest enemy of that trinket on all YouTube, I have to drop it 1 point. Also, the items are good. I don't know, man. Then we have the changes, and it would be a 5 out of 10. Since it's the first, there are only some changes on the patch of June 15th, 0.1.1, where the game became easier if you were grinding research and harder for long runs, since they tweaked a little bit the main spawn chances. I don't know, mid-change in my opinion. And to end up the other new stuff, we have the improvements, and it would be an 8 out of 10. Surprisingly, there were some changes. They were mostly to fix game-breaking bugs and stuff, but there weren't much and some bugs weren't fixed, so an 8 seems fair enough. So, mostly because of the changes, the score drops to 7.75. It's good, but not perfect. The originality will get a 4 out of 5. The game doesn't have a mind-blowing formula that wasn't seen before, but the tunes and more aspects of the game are really original and have potential that even today Quell didn't want it to update. And no, it wasn't disappointing. It gave what we expected. The game that we all love. Easy 5 out of 5. So if we add up all the scores, we get an 8.58 or AB. Not bad. We just have to hope that the next updates are better than this one. Will they? Something tells me that not. I didn't play this update, but all the additions that they released seem cool and I really like them. Let's see if this reflects to outscore system. Okay? First, let's rank the tunes, and on quantity I'll give it a 4 out of 5. They didn't release 12, but 4 brand new tunes in less than a month is low-key impressive. But this leads us to a question, do all have quality? And the answer is kind of. I'll give them a 3 out of 5. I'm sorry, but I honestly don't see Flutter and Tegan that good on terms of being interesting tunes. Like Flutter is a bad tune on general and Tegan is not even used. At least Tisha and Shelly are really cool. So in tunes this update gets a 7 out of 10. Thanks, Flutter and Tegan. Now you know the deal, let's go for the floors. And this is another 10 out of 10. Just like the alpha release, these floors are so iconic. Imagine the game without the second variant of the warehouse or the biggest floor of them all, the Astro's room. Then we have the trinket/items and it gets a 7 out of 10 on here. Participation Award is the best trinket by far, but this update added nightmare fuel such as Fancy Purse, Pull Toy, or Diary. The so-called trinkets that use randoms that will die on floor 2. At least Diary is sometimes used by good people, but most of the time is used by noobs. In the changes, it has a 9 out of 10. They added debuffs. Somehow they weren't on the first update. More cards, reworked some trinkets for good, and added my favorite feature, golden skill checks, since I can flex my skills with low skill check tunes. In conclusion, these are some really cool changes, but I don't know. Maybe if they reworked Pebble on this update, it would have gotten a 10 out of 10. In the improvement, this update gets a really low score of 2 out of 10. Somehow, they weren't patch updates in the 0.2. For me, it's crazy since there were a lot of bugs and there weren't even bug fixes on the update. At least we now can skip the "that's a wrap" cutscene. Who cares? So, if we add all up, we should get a 7 out of 10 on the other stuff. We got another 7. So this update won't get a really high score like the alpha release, but let's see. In originality, it gets a 3 out of 10. Kinda lazy tunes except Shelly, Twisteds, and most of the trinkets. But since there were some really good and original changes and floors, it compensates. And it gets a 5 out of 5 on this category. I don't believe that we got this in 1 month. Mostly because right now we got a really small update in 2 months, so 5 out of 5. If we add up all this update gets a 7.3 out of 10 or C. Kinda low. But I get it. This was made on 1 month, and for an update made on that time is more than enough. I started to play on this update and, personally, the best update if we base on the content that it bring. But wait, it can be also called the roleplay update. Never mind, I hate it. Now for real, I will try to ignore the role-playing thing since it doesn't bring anything new to the gameplay, and in this update it wasn't fully implemented. But we can say that on August 29th, Gooners invaded Dandy's world. Anyways, let's check the tunes, and on quantity it's a 4 out of 5. They added 4 tunes, nice and simple, nothing much to comment on here. And on quality is a 5 out of 5. Now, hear me out. Sprout, Cosmo, Glisten, and Finn are, in my opinion, really cool. And you can't tell me that not. And also, I really love the Twisteds. In special, Twisted Glisten. So this update gets a 9 out of 10 on tunes. In my opinion, this update made the best tunes, but since I really like Cosmo and Sprout maybe is a little bit biased, I don't know. Now, let's rank the floors, and it's a 6 out of 10. They added the greenhouse, and who likes the greenhouse? No one, right? At least there are 2 variants, and it's not horrible like some other floors. Then we have the trinkets/items, and it gets an easy 9 out of 10. They added the Boxo chocolates, the best item of the game, and this, yeah, that kinda neutralizes it. Also, they added the blushy bat. It's cool if you are new. And all the new trinkets are kinda popular. The only one that we can consider bad is the fishing rod. Then the changes get a 9 out of 10. They added the Daily Twisted, reworked Pebble's abilities so now it's useful, made Goob not being able to pull people outside of the elevator to prevent trolls. In my opinion, some really solid changes. I hate roleplay, but I'll admit it is well done and creative. The only issue is the players. Really enjoyable mode if you use it with brain cells. And to end this section we have the improvements, and it is another 9 out of 10. They made 2 whole patches to fix the daily twisted, but in fact the roleplay patch fixed a lot of bugs. When I say a lot is a lot. Alongside some quality of life improvements, really nice. So the other stuff gets a 8.25. The floors made the average score low, but it's still really good. In originality this gets a 5 out of 5. Nothing feels reused, especially the twisteds that seem fresh and unique. Even the roleplay feels creative because of the tune rooms. Maybe the only reused thing is Glisten's trinket and active. But since they are different enough from Alarm and Scrap's active, we can pass it. And 5 out of 5 again. In 1 month they made this. 1 single month. Quell should hire more people to make updates this fast, now not gonna lie. So the Sprout update gets an A-. And this is the highest ranking we will get, since from now on we will only be getting lower scores. This update, in my opinion, is really underrated. Mostly because it gave to us a lot of things. Even if some were good and some others, well, we don't talk about the gift shop, okay? On quantity of tunes, it gets a 2 out of 5. Sadly, there was only one new tune, Gigi. It's understandable. They focused more on skins. Keep in mind that this was made on 1 single month. And on quality, it would be a 4 out of 5. Gigi ain't my favorite. I don't like to play as her. But I can admit that she's fun to play as and she's well designed. The thing that annoys me is the Twisted. Gigi is a 5 out of 5, and Twisted Gigi a 2 out of 5. At least she gives some challenge because she makes you angry. So, since there was only one tune, this update gets a 6 out of 10 on the tunes category. Since they added skins, this update gets a bonus of 10 points on the other new stuff category. The skins are insanely good. Everyone seems to be made with tons of care and all fit their character in their own way. You might like them, you might not, but you gotta agree that Quell did a good job with the skins. Also, Star Time is GOAT. The Shelly one does not count. For the floors, I gotta give it a 4 out of 10. What is the gift shop even supposed to do? L layout, L color palette, and L. Wait, I just remembered the 0.5 update floors, so we will give it a 4 and leave nicely. Okay? For trinkets and items, it will be a 3 out of 10. Dang. Bro, they added 3 of the most useless trinkets on this update and thought we wouldn't notice. At least water cooler is not horrible for Gigi. Yeah. And for changes, this update gets an 8 out of 10. They buffed Scraps and did nothing to her on terms of being a good tune. Also, they buffed Twisted Astro and changed Twisted Toodles animation. Just to change it again. Also, they made the skin tickets being gambling just to delete the gambling and double the prize. Plus adding and deleting some game passes, auto pass buy and start time. It was weird, but I liked it. Also, they made Gigi useful in like 4 hours onto the update. Only 1% of the players could try her before that. Also, on improvements we have a 10 out of 10. We got console compatibility. Playing on PS5 is really nice for me. Plus a lot of buff fixes and quality of life improvements. Also, softly reminder that on the 0.4.3 we got the so-called admin incident. So we have a 8.75 on the other stuff. Really nice and honestly carried by the skins. On originality we have a 3 out of 5. I love the originality of the skins. But the rest of things are just kinda meh. And Gigi follows Toodles' formula. And 5 out of 5 on this category again. Most of the skins here don't feel lazy somehow if we take in mind that they made 25 new skins in 1 month. Quell was crazy. Now I respect her even more. So the update gets a 7.58 out of 10. Better than Shelly's. There were really high highs and really low lows. Floors and trinkets. One of the smallest and probably worse updates at the moment. Surprisingly, it took too long for what it is and, well, I'm not a fan of this update, not gonna lie. But this is the update where I started YouTube. So let's start by the quantity of tunes, and it's a 3 out of 5 since it bring Looey and Connie, only 2 tunes. So surprising. I wouldn't have expected it. And on quality is a 4 out of 5. I really like Looey and Connie is just Connie. But I've saw that almost no one uses them today. I like them both, so yeah. Also, they released without a skin. If we add the scores on quantity and quality, this update has a 7 out of 10 on tunes, not bad. The other new stuff on floors has a 2 out of 10. If I had to describe them, I would only use one sentence. Just like scraps. Both 3 have an horrible layout and don't feel good to play on. In fact, me, the guys who is constantly on voice call making pranks while I play, get stressed in some of them only because of the layout. Also, they even had to rework 2 of them. On trinkets and items, it gets a 7.5 out of 10. There were only 2 trinkets, but at least both are solid and allow funny gameplay. Connie's one, or new cool strats, both. On changes, it gets a 6 out of 10. They fixed some bugs that came with the update, but they also added blinking, but only for the new 2 tunes. Like, I don't know. And on improvements, it's a 5 out of 10. They just optimized the game and not much else. At least the game is somewhat more playable for mobile players. So, the other stuff score is a little bit low, a 5.13, but well, let's see if it can recover. On originality, it gets a 2 out of 5. I feel like nothing was so original. Like maybe Connie, but not much else. Looey is good, but not so original in my opinion. And I will give it a 4 out of 5 on this. While it maybe was, we need to take in mind that this was Quel's first update without rocks if I'm not right, and even if it took 2 months, she needed some rest because she made 3 really good updates in only 1 month each. So this update gets in 6.04 or a D-. Well, not so great. But I already told you that this was probably the worst update, so let's move on. This update released on January somehow. Also the first event and all of that. I didn't like it, but it was the biggest update by far. Let's rate it fairly. So, for quantity it's a 4 out of 5 and you already know why, and on quality it is a 2 out of 5. But why? Because they were all copycats except Babette, and 2 of the Twisteds were painfully tedious to deal with, so it deserves the 2 out of 5. So on tunes this update gets a 6 out of 10, and if you ask me, it was expected since I already complained about this update's tunes on a video. Then we have the other new stuff, and on skins this gets a +3. I don't even like this update skins at all, if you ask me. They are all ugly except the Looey's one. So a 3 seems fine for me. On floors, the update gets a 8 out of 10. I really liked the new Christmas floor that they made for the event. It was really cool, but they deleted it. The lobby change was also cool, even if it doesn't matter that much. For the trinkets, I'm sorry, but I gotta give it a 3 out of 10. All are useless except peppermint icing in some very specific strategies. Surprisingly, Toy Kit used to be one of the best trinkets when the update released, but they changed it so it became useless, and Rudy's one doesn't even work anymore. Then, on changes, we have a 7 out of 10. We will count the event on here. I didn't like it. That's it. And also they added a random TV and 3 trinkets builds. Only 3. Since this was the first event, I will rate it somewhat high and expect the next events to be better. And on improvements, the update gets a 10 out of 10. Everything that they did on the other parts, they surely did them here. They really fixed a lot of bugs and added a lot of quality of life improvements. At the end of the day, it gets a 7.75 on the other stuff. And honestly, I expected something lower. On originality, it gets a 2 out of 5. Bad tunes and a generic update in terms of new content. The ornaments were just ichor but red and round. At least Quell tried. And on this section, it gets a 2.5 out of 5. For the first event, this felt somewhat lazy. And if we take in mind that this was not released in Christmas, if not January 10th, you can see why this is disappointing. So, the update gets a 6.08 or a D-. surprisingly close to the Looey and Connie update. So, we only have one more update to analyze, the Yatta update. So, it's time for the newest update. In my opinion, it shouldn't be called Yatta's update, if not Candy update, since oh well, everything new they made is around candies. But now I think they are useful. Also, I gotta give a note, maybe the opinion is biased since when I'm making this, there has been exactly 1 day, 12 hours, 6 minutes and 23 seconds since the update release, and I couldn't try the update well since I have been doing this video. Yeah, I think I deserve a like, don't I? So well, let's start by the tunes, and since there has only been one tune, Yatta, I gotta give it a 2 out of 5 on quantity. For me, this is sad, but the rating system has spoken. And hear me out, but Yatta might be the best tune they made on all time. I have been having a lot of fun using this tune, so I'll not give it a 5 out of 5, if not a 6 out of 5 since Yatta deserves it. So this update gets an 8 out of 10 on tunes. Why are all the circus tunes so cool and good? Like Looey was broken, Yatta is broken, and what about the next circus tune? Will he give admin powers to the users or what? Time of the other new stuff, and for the floors I gotta give it a 7 out of 10. It just remade all the bad floors layouts and I really appreciate it. Mostly Shelly's one. When I saw it I was so happy. But it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 since some parts are not changed and they really deserved it. For trinkets and items I'll give it an 8 out of 10. The trinket is good, at least that's what Shelly said and I'll believe on him, and they buffed some candies like the Sigma candy that renamed to Jawbreaker and lasts 6 times longer. Now the stealth candy is less spooky since it became more common, and I really appreciate it, and the instructions now are useful. Also they changed the skill check candy, but I don't know what they did to it. And also they added the stamina and extraction speed candy. Really good. On changes I'll give it a 7 out of 10. They again buffed Scraps, but she's still garbage. Please rework her stats. Added 170 dialogues that's some crazy work, and also reworked Pebble's animations and now he's even more cute. But I wanted something gameplay related, but since there wasn't it gets the score. And for improvements it gets a 5 out of 10. They fixed some bugs that since I'm not Aladdin the genie of the magic lamp, I can't know since Quelver didn't said them, and optimized some models. So the update gets a 7 out of 10 on other stuff, not bad. On originality, it gets a 4 out of 5. Yatta is really cool and original, and the trinket too. The new dialogues are really cool, and the only thing we can call not original is the new candies since, well, they are candies. So it gets a 4. But sadly, even if we knew that the update wasn't going to bring much, and it was going to be a small one, I was really expecting something gameplay related like new game modes, cards, or just new floor events. And also, we have been waiting 2 months for this, so I don't know. But honestly, I really like Yatta, maybe even more than Sprout. So, Yatta's update gets a 7.33 or a C, a tiny bit more than Shelly's. 0.03. So well, now let's compare them from worst to best.
Congratulations!
I'm the best!
Gaga, I'm a baby. Wah, wah. I want milky milk. I'm 3 years old.